gonna get our full-blown acceleration here. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a Hyundai Sonata N Line. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to Southtown Hyundai here in Utah for giving me some time with this Sonata. Check out the inventory link below. Let's get straight into the video. Under the hood of the Sonata N Line, we have a turbocharged 2.5 liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 23 around town and then 33 on the highway, with power outputs being 290 horsepower and then 311 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the front end of the N Line. So first off, you've got the signature elongated hood here on the Sonata, which gives it a really cool sporty look. And then coming down, we've got the full LED lights with the LED accent light that continues up. And then notice that they kind of transition it into chrome, so it looks like one long line along the car. Definitely a cool look. I love how they've blacked out all of the venting here on the N Line. You do get a tiny N Line badge there on the side. And then just look at the bodywork down here, really aggressive looking. But yeah, overall, especially in this red paint, this looks beautiful. Coming on the side here, you've got two 45mm tires wrapped around 19-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear. And notice you've got that cool venting there in front of the wheel, definitely a nice little touch. And then you've got the N Line badge just behind the wheel. And then as for the design on these wheels, I think these are perfect. These look just like aftermarket wheels with how intricate they are, but they're the stock wheels from the factory. Hyundai just does such a good job with their wheel design. And other than that, notice you've got the side skirt all along right here, and then you've got some bodywork there on the back that also is kind of in black, just to create some contrast. But here's your full side view. There's a couple things to go over here in the trunk area of the Sonata N Line. So first off, you've got these little pull tabs here for the rear seats, so you can fold those down from the back, which I think is a cool practical thing. Got a cargo net as well. And then as for the storage space, you can see it's really large. This is a bigger sized sedan. And other than that, that's everything for the back. So yeah. Now let's go over the rest of the rear of the N Line. So first off, you've got the gigantic light bar, which looks really cool, especially at night. You've got the Sonata logo down below, and then notice you've got the exhaust tips out either side. Definitely gives it a sportier look with the diffuser down here as well. And yeah, overall it looks slightly more aggressive than the regular Sonata, but it still has a nice clean look. Now here's the door panel for the N Line. So first off, you've got the leather right here with the stitching that goes across. I love the contrast between the gray and the stitching, just looks really good. And then coming to the seats, these seats are absolutely beautiful. Again, remember, this is kind of like a quote-unquote economy car, but you've got beautiful leather with the Alcantara there in the center. And speaking of that, let's pop in. So stepping in, pretty easy to get in. These seats are actually really comfortable here in the back. I'm 5'11", I've got more than enough headroom. Legroom solid as well. Got a couple vents with a USB, and this pulls down to be an armrest and some cup holders. So yeah, this is a nice place to be. Now going over the door panel here in the front, again, they continue the gray with the contrasted stitching, which looks really good. You've got all of your window controls, you've got your mirror adjustments. This does come with the Bose sound system. And then here are the seats at the front, so same materials as the rear, but you've got your N logo right there, and then you've got, again, the Alcantara here. You've got the piping with the stitching, and then really aggressive bolsters, which look really good. You've got your adjustments there on the side of the seat, and then you have the pedal layout, which looks really nice. Notice it's covered there for the first owner. And then you've got this for the trunk, the stability control, that is for the parking brake, the lane departure assistance. The steering wheel is manually adjustable, and then look at the paddles there on the back. And there's one more look before we pop in. Let's go over the steering wheel here in the N Line. So first off, you've got the soft touch at the top and at the bottom, and you have a little N badge. Perforated leather, we're actually going to grab it so you can get a little bit of a better grip. And then again, you've got the contrasted stitching there on the center portion. Just look at how pretty that stitching looks. And then you still have the Sonata steering wheel, which looks pretty crazy. So you've got the paddles there on the back, and then you've got like your cruise control on this side, and then you've got your voice command phone controls on the other side. And then you have the stock for the lights and the turn signal, and then windshield wiper stock on the other side, and that's all for the steering wheel. Here's the center gauge cluster, which is my favorite part of the interior, other than the materials, which the materials are very nice. But going over the gauge cluster, you do have that screen there in the center, which shows you different menus. My favorite part though is the drive modes. I love how the gauges change depending on the drive mode. So Pop it over into Sport, you get a different screen, and then you've got the Sport Plus, which notice that it takes off the stability control, and then you've got the custom mode. I just love the animation, and I love how the whole screen changes, because again, it's a whole digital readout, but yeah, it just looks really cool, and definitely my favorite part of the car, and my favorite part to look at. Now here's the infotainment system. First off, we'll pop it into reverse. You've got the backup camera here with the trajectory lines that do turn with the steering wheel. Pretty easy system to use. Now as for the rest of the infotainment system, I love how it's integrated here, how it kind of goes off to the sides and either side pinches down. Definitely makes it look nicer with the rest of the design of the dash. But it is just a touchscreen, so you can see you can do the touch response. You've got all the shortcut buttons there on the side, so we can go to the home screen, and then we can scroll over to the other screens. It does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Sounds of nature, which is the most important part. But yeah, overall response time on the screen's good. It looks really nice. It's nicely integrated into the dash as well. And that's all for the infotainment system. Hazard light button right there. And then you've got your climate controls. This does have a dual zone climate and heated seats. Bunch of USBs, a 12 volt, and then a wireless phone charger. And then here is the gear selector system. Pretty easy. You've got reverse, neutral, drive, and park. Just a bunch of buttons, very nicely labeled on a bunch of piano black trim. I love how you have an N logo just down below. Your drive mode select, and then your auto hold with a couple of cup holders. And then if we move my backpack aside, we've got the center console, which good amount of storage space. And then just notice the material use is very, very nice, and the stitching as well. And then look down here, even they did nice material all along. Almost forgot about the glove box, but it's actually really big. It's a big glove box. And then notice you got more stitching and soft touch here at the dash. Just overall definitely has a luxury car feel to the interior. And then up top here we've got our full panoramic sunroof, which we actually have open for once. Definitely lets a ton of light here into the car, and then you have a darker colored headliner for the rest, and that's all for up top. Now that we're done going over the interior, let's quickly get into the pricing. So in terms of pricing, the Sonata N Line stickers for almost $35,000, which I think is a steal. I'll explain that in a little bit, but that all being said, let's take it out and see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility here on the Sonata N Line before we set off. So visibility over the hood's just like any other Sonata. It's really easy to see out of. It is a longer hood, but it's pretty easy to get used to. And then there's your visibility through both the mirrors. They do have blind spot monitoring. And then here's throughout the rest of the rear, which I mean, visibility overall is actually pretty good for a sedan of this type. And that all being said, let's set off. So we are setting off here in the Sonata N Line, and I'm gonna tell you guys, I did not get a lot of sleep last night because I was so excited to come and review this car today. This is just one of those cars that is super unique, and I know a lot of people are gonna be like, but it's a front wheel drive, quote unquote, economy car. It's a lot more than that. First off, the new Sonata is amazing. It's this kind of, again, economy car money, but you're getting a luxury car from a ride quality standpoint and from an interior standpoint. It's just absolutely fantastic. Definitely, I mean, just one of my favorite new cars that you can get. And get our kind of partial acceleration here to see what it's like. Ooh, it definitely has that turbo feel to it. I love that, where it's got a little bit of lag. Now we're popping it over into the Sport Plus because things are gonna get spicy today. That dual clutch is amazingly quick. That's something that you don't really see in this class. A lot of cars in this class, you know, some of them might have manual transmissions, but a lot of them, they just have regular torque converter automatics that are pretty old, and they're just not quick to shift, whereas this dual clutch is very quick, and that's just on the downshifts right there. I think we're good to go right here. So we're gonna get our full-blown acceleration here. Oh, definitely definitely get a little bit of spinning with the front wheels there. I was not expecting that. I should have probably I shouldn't have punched it that hard. I am sorry. You guys know I usually don't do that. That was not intentional. That is crazy. That is crazy. It is so quick. This is quick, and the car's really light, so I mean, it's more than enough power. But yeah, sorry, again, I was not expecting it to just go through like that. That was definitely my bad. But yeah, this is a fun car. This is such a fun car. And I mean, there's a lot of cars that this competes against, right? You've got the Honda Accord, you've got the Toyota Camry, all that kind of stuff. they don't have as nice of an interior. They're not as exciting to drive. They don't look as cool. This looks so unique. Whenever I see one of these on the road, I always turn my head, and especially in this red color, this is definitely head turning. See the handling? Yeah, the handling's really good too. Yeah, it's this N Line package. They did a really good job with kind of tuning things up. The Sonata already is a really good platform to kind of build things off of, but this N Line package definitely makes it a lot nicer. Yeah, just everything about this car is great. And that'll get me into summing things up here with this N Line Sonata. So first off, I think the exterior styling is really good looking. It's a beautiful car, and it definitely looks a lot more expensive than it is from the outside. And then once you get in the interior, that theme continues. It has a luxury car interior. And then on top of that, it comes with a bunch of safety tech. A lot of it is standard, which I think is another awesome thing here about the N Line. And then, aside from all of that, again, the performance of this car is astounding. The turn-in's really nice. The steering is very light, but you actually get quite a bit of feel, so you can feel exactly what's happening through the front tires with the steering. So that's really good. Acceleration's really strong for this segment. Definitely at the top end for most cars in this segment. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is this right now, in my opinion, is the best car in the class. It's the most fun to drive. It looks the best. It drives the best. It's the quickest to accelerate. Like, it's just the best at everything right now. And I mean, Hyundai has a crazy warranty on top of that. So it's like you're winning on every single front. And so, I mean, the least you can do is come and check one of these out before you look at any other commuter car, because this thing is so fun. And for only 34, almost 35 grand, it's a bargain. Now that is gonna sum things up for our video on this 2021 Hyundai Sonata N Line. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to Southtown Hyundai here in Utah for giving me some time with this Sonata. Check out their inventory link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.